O Tannenbaum, O Tannenbaum. Yep, the Christmas tree has its own carol. Time for a quick quiz. Who introduced the Christmas tree to this country? And 2, where did this custom of decorating a tree for Christmas originate? Score a point if you think it's linked to Germany, and score full marks if you said the person who introduced the Christmas tree is Princess Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz. She had the misfortune to be married to the Prince Regent of the future, George IV. It is thought she really was the first person who ever set up a tree, a bit like this one, which she used at a Christmas party in 1800 at Windsor Castle, apparently. Now, such trees were seen in households that had German connections, so they were kind of known about. But it really wasn't until Albert and Victoria appeared, pictured with their children, looking admiringly at their Christmas tree in 1848, that the idea caught on with the middle classes. By 1851, the Illustrated London News was carrying adverts for buying your Christmas tree. However, lots of people still hung on to the tradition in England before that of the mistletoe bough. Now, if you watch those history reenactment programmes, you may have seen the Tudor Monastery Farm series, where 2 of the chaps made one of these evergreen boughs that were traditional at Christmas time, and they used hoops, twisting them into a big ball, and then they wove lots of evergreen around it. And to finish it off, it was hung in the middle of the room, and then a big bunch of mistletoe was hung from the bottom of it. And it's known that York Minster had a special service each year to bless the mistletoe, and at the same time would welcome in those who'd been miscreants during the year, so they could be pardoned, ready to celebrate Christmas. As we know, the mistletoe was a sacred plant, going back to the ancient Druids. For them, it was a sign of love and peace. And there's a great Norse myth about the goddess Frigg, who gives her name to Fridays, so we know about her really. Her son was called Baldur the Beautiful, and he was paranoid about being killed by a plant. There seemed to be a thing that had been foretold. So Frigg, his mum, blessed all the plants that grow in the forest and in the fields. But Loki, he's always up to no good in these stories, worked out that the mistletoe, of course, grows up trees and it isn't planted in the earth at all. And he fashioned a stave out of mistletoe and then basically tricked Baldur's twin brother, who was blind, into driving the stake into Baldur, and so he died. And it's said that the tears of Frigg, his mother, were what became those beautiful pearlescent white berries on the mistletoe. And she decided that instead of cursing the mistletoe, she declared that it would forever remain a plant that could never be used as a weapon, and that it should instead become a symbol for peace and friendship. The custom of kissing underneath the mistletoe, therefore, where did that come from? Well, of course, that's an English invention. Its earliest mention in literature, mind you, is as late as 1784 in a musical, but it looks like it had been well known before that. And the idea was you exchanged a kiss and took a berry off the mistletoe. When all the berries were gone, you couldn't kiss under there anymore. So the mistletoe has been used customarily as a bit of the Christmas decoration since the Middle Ages, as far as we know. And the idea of evergreen, brightening up your house, bringing in its gorgeous smell, was well established for centuries. Now, it is said that Martin Luther, him of the Protestant Reformation, one day was walking home, it was winter and dark, and he was thinking about his Christmas sermon, and he looked up and saw all these twinkling stars in the night sky, and he thought, And then he went home and wired up loads of candles on a tree and set that up at home to try and create that effect of twinkling stars. That's how the story runs, so we can thank Martin Luther for the idea of hanging lights and stuff that sparkles on our Christmas trees. Of course, at the heart of all of this is an idea that at the winter solstice, the time when the sun seemingly stands still in the sky, when the days get neither longer nor shorter, this is a time to celebrate a feast, a midwinter feast, until the sun triumphs over the darkness once again and the days begin to grow longer. So there is no better time then, is there, to celebrate the idea of the immortal God becoming one with humanity to save us all and bring us everlasting life, so that we may be blessed by peace and joy and love. I feel really like I should be wearing a Kiss Me Quick hat while I'm saying these things, but anyway, as we gaze on the Christmas tree, here or at home, let's remember the symbolism of evergreens as a sign of peace and everlasting life, and remember God's blessing in our hearts and in our homes.